Hello, I'm Chris Bonello from Autistic Not Weird, and this is the next video in my 3-minute autism advice series. Today I'm focusing on what I believe is the most important thing that an anxious person, autistic or not, can possibly do. Confront your anxieties. This video does need a quick disclaimer. Because I suffer from anxiety issues myself, I know full well that this is not easy advice to follow. All I can do is tell you my own experience in confronting my anxieties and why it's worked. When I was in therapy for my own anxiety, I made a decision. Each day I was going to do at least one thing that made me nervous, whether it was talking to someone, or volunteering somewhere, or even just leaving the house. Because that's what confronting your anxieties looks like. Sometimes it's standing up in front of big crowds, some days it's just getting out of bed. I used to be petrified of public speaking. Now I'm a public speaker, and I didn't go from one of those to the other by avoiding opportunities to face my fears. And this is a video of me going skydiving. I was afraid of it at the time, despite that smile I was putting on. But now, if I went up in that plane a second time, well, I'll still be nervous, but I wouldn't call it fear like I did before. The more you step out of your comfort zone, the bigger your comfort zone gets. And that's why I believe that confronting your fears is an essential thing to do. Not just because I've seen it work for me and for lots of other people I know, but because not confronting your fears can actually be pretty damaging. You could spend your whole life avoiding the things that make you anxious, being given free passes all the time, and devoting your life to feeling nice and comfortable. But in all fairness, if a car is hurtling towards you and you're too anxious to move, you don't get a free pass. You get hit by a car. So even though anxious people shouldn't be forced to confront the things that might damage them, not confronting any of their fears any of the time is damaging them. It's kind of like limiting an Overwatch character by not bringing them into battle because you don't want them to get hurt. If you don't enter the arena, don't expect to level up. The trick is to find ways of confronting your fears that build you up and make the fears occupy less space in your head. And like I said at the start, it's not meant to be easy. But life experience has taught me that it gets easier every time you do it. It starts as being 100% scary, but the second time is only 75% scary. The third time is only 60%, and so on and so on. I won't lie, even today I get nervous when I'm about to stand up in front of a crowd of people, even though it's literally my job and I've done it loads of times before. But now I'm able to look at my anxieties and say, you know what, I already know I'm going to win. You know what the best part of confronting your anxiety is? The bragging rights afterwards. I'm not much of a show-off, but believe me, it feels awesome to tell people, yeah, I used to be afraid of that, but I'm not anymore. So that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful, and there are plenty more advice videos coming. In the description, I've left a link to a whole article I wrote about dealing with anxiety, as well as links to other platforms you can find me on. And since doing this is now my job, feel free to check out my Patreon rewards if you're interested in supporting me. I'm Chris Bonello from Autistic Not Weird. See you next time.